Hello everyone, welcome back and welcome to quite a bare looking shed if I'm honest. As you know, FTR3 is not here at the moment. It was shipped off last week to get the cage done. The GT's left during the week. It's getting some work done on the transmission, so we've got a little bit of space that we're kicking around in, but a lot of what's happened over the last week has been purely on getting this cage work done on FTR3, which is well underway. Now, if you've been following the journey from the beginning, you'll know that a few months ago we set up a membership program, and that was designed to help us fast track the restoration on FTR3. The dearest part of this car's restoration is the cage work, and many of you reached out offering to help, wanting to play a part. So we set up a membership program. So to support the support we've been getting, we put together some videos of FTR3's cage being rebuilt. Now these are available to members. There was a membership video that went out last night. There's another one coming out tonight, roughly an hour or so after this video is released. And then from there, there'll be more as we go along. We just really want to thank everyone, not just our members, but everyone that's been watching and supporting our journey from the beginning. This is a really exciting time for FTR3, and once we get this step complete, we can really start to get the chassis painted and then start putting the car back together and seeing this car come back to life. So given we've put so much effort into the cage work on FTR3 this week, I've only managed to get roughly an hour and a half in the workshop here. I have managed to get the Watts Linkage put back together on the Caltex Stone Brothers Falcon, which we'll have a look at now. And there's also an old bit of footage that we've unearthed, which really does make you appreciate how good the Stone Brothers mechanics and engineers were back in the day. Okay, so a good job to tackle today. We're going to put this Watts Linkage all back together. Now, interestingly, everything on this is Imperial. So we've got 3/8, 5/8, ½ inch, everything's all here. And all the bolts and that are all cleaned up, ready to go back in. Now, what we have had to source is some lubricant, so this center section here can slide up and down, and you don't want to put grease or oil on it because it'll attract dirt and dust. So you go barreling through a gravel trap, all of a sudden, all this becomes effectively a lapping paste. So a couple of the ex-Stone Brothers guys have reached out to us, and they've said to run this Newlon dry lube, which we'll do. And they're actually saying that the car itself, every time it was serviced between rounds, this Watts Linkage was pulled out, cleaned, and then put back together again. So hasn't been done for many years, so we'll get into it. One thing that's worth noting too is where this mechanism slides, it's got a lot shorter bolts in it. So they're all totally different lengths. So we've got to make sure that as we go, everything goes back in the right spot. Okay, so that's the Watts Linkage all rebuilt and ready to go back in the car for BA1. As you can see, it's looking a lot better than when we started. Everything's all lubricated, bolts are all tensioned up, ready to go back in the car. So we'll put a cover over this for now. We've got a lot of work to do on the boot of BA1 first, so we'll get into that so we can get it ready to go back in the car. So we'll pretty well spend the rest of the day today just cleaning up bits and pieces on BA1. But one thing I just wanted to show you, and you don't get an appreciation on just how hard these guys work to build these cars until you look at some of the work and the parts that they carry. Now, you can see here that Watts Linkage, if you had to build that from scratch, that would take a serious amount of time. You look at things like the pot for the boot, the fuel pot, and even things like this bracket here that the fuel pot sits in. I mean, it's beautifully engineered, got a beautiful weld on it. It's all been lightened off as much as possible. Even just those three parts there, they would take a lot of time if you had to build them from scratch. And if you go back to the year 2002 and have a look at this clip, FTR3 actually features in this as well, with Glenn Seton racing it at the Gold Coast. Wayne Gardner and David Bernard obviously wrote off an AU Falcon at Bathurst, and Stones had to build a brand new AU Falcon really late in the year so David Bernard could finish the season. as well as try and build up BA1. So you have a look at a lot of the date codes on BA1, a lot of it's 2003. So really that work was all completed in a 2 or 3 month period. Now, a few of the Stone Brothers guys that have reached out to us just, with advice and information on this car said that they fondly remember, or probably not fondly, but basically just living in the tea room at Stone Brothers while these BA1 and BA2 were built, living on energy drinks, and they were just working around the clock to get it done. So you have a look, there was certainly no I guess, cutting and quality cutting and workmanship. That was all absolutely beautifully turned out. But the guys that built it back in the day were working around the clock to get it done. I mean, if I had to build just what's on this bench, it'd take me a month. So it's you don't realise just how skilled these guys are. Now, this article here, or this story, was put together in 2002 in the lead up to the Gold Coast event. And this is the story on how Stone's built the AU Falcon. And if you have a look in the background, you'll see BA1 or BA2. It's unconfirmed which chassis is in the background, looking very, very incomplete as the time this was shot.
That car back on the track, let's see how they did it.
Side by side in the Stone Brothers workshop, a testament to how a simple mistake can shatter one dream and how sheer hard work can rebuild another. Just 2 weeks ago in Friday practice at Mount Panorama, Wayne Gardner wrote off the Caltex Haviline Ford, what should have been David Bernard's regular championship car for the rest of the series.
Too much damage in all the roll cage, a lot of chassis damage to it. It could be fixed, but it's something that's not going to be done in, in a short time.
And a short time was all they had. With Indy, New Zealand and Sandown still to go, Bernard needed a car to complete the championship. And what followed was a stunning show of workmanship. A spare chassis transformed almost from the ground up.
I got to say, even I had my doubts, but with these guys from the Caltex Haviline Racing team, mate, they work miracles. They've done it before, they've done it again. The car's ready to go, it's brand new, and looking forward to a good race this weekend.
The timeline was tight. The crew came back from Bathurst on Monday. They started work on an unpainted body shell on Tuesday, gave it a dummy fit out on Wednesday, assembled on Thursday, and then had the electrics and engine operational by Saturday. A week after Bathurst and a week before Indy, a new car was born. Ross Stone figured he'd work out the cost later.
Oh yeah, in this business, you just get on with the job, and I'll sit down and balance it all later, I guess. But it's just one of the things, and it is so labour intensive. That's the thing that you have to manage for a start.
They managed by sharing staff from the Pertec car across to the Caltex car. Teamwork, putting the pieces in place to put a shattered season back together.
I drive the car, these blokes work on it. If I do something, they can't be 100% sure that it's right. I just let them do their job. I'll clean it every now and then and help out where I can, but better off just letting these guys do their job. They're a bunch of professionals, they're awesome guys, and they're great friends, and I know what I'm supposed to do and they know what they have to do, and together we're a great team, and hopefully this weekend we can get the Ford up there.